Ambassador Zethkar's chitinous exoskeleton clicked nervously as he reviewed the diplomatic briefing for the 1,000th time. The Galactic Council had sent him to negotiate with the newly discovered species called humans, but the intelligence reports made his internal organs quiver with dread. Earth was classified as a class-defined Deathworld, a planet so hostile that even the most hardened Council warriors refused deployment there. The gravity was crushing, the atmosphere was corrosive oxygen, and the native fauna included apex predators that had somehow learned to coexist with the dominant species. Worse still, these humans had somehow convinced several of these lethal creatures to live alongside them voluntarily. As his diplomatic shuttle approached the human space station, Zethkar noticed something peculiar through the viewport. A human female was floating in the zero-gravity corridor, and wrapped around her shoulders was what appeared to be a miniature version of the dreaded Terran constrictor, a serpentine killing machine capable of crushing bones to powder. "Greetings, Ambassador," the human said cheerfully as the airlock cycled. "I'm Commander Sarah Chen. Welcome aboard Station Unity." Zethkar's translator struggled with her casual tone. According to Council records, humans should be perpetually aggressive, having survived constant warfare with their planet's hostile ecosystem. Yet this Commander Chen seemed pleasant. "I must warn you," Zethkar stammered. "There appears to be a dangerous predator loose on your station." Commander Chen followed his gaze to the creature around her neck. "Oh, this is Noodles, my ball python. She's completely harmless, just a little stressed from the artificial gravity fluctuations." She gently stroked the serpent, which responded by curling more contentedly around her shoulders. Zethkar's secondary hearts stopped beating. "You named it?" "Of course. She's been my companion for 6 years now. Would you like to meet her?" Before Zethkar could protest, Chen had moved closer, offering the snake for inspection. The ambassador recoiled, his species' ancient fear responses flooding his nervous system. In Council space, such creatures were contained in maximum security xenobiology facilities, studied only by volunteers willing to risk death for scientific advancement. "Perhaps we should proceed to the conference room," Zethkar managed. As they walked through the station's corridors, Zethkar witnessed scene after impossible scene. A maintenance worker sat beside a four-legged creature with massive fangs, a Terran canine according to his briefings, as both shared what appeared to be a meal. The beast's tail moved rhythmically, and when the human scratched behind its ears, it made contented rumbling sounds. In the hydroponics bay, a small human child played alongside a Terran feline, one of the most efficient micropredators in known space. The creature had retractable claws capable of shredding flesh, yet it seemed more interested in chasing a dangling piece of string than hunting. "I don't understand," Zethkar said as they entered the conference room. "Our xenobiologists classify these creatures as extremely dangerous. How do you maintain control over them?" Commander Chen looked genuinely puzzled. "Control? Ambassador, these aren't prisoners or weapons. They're our friends, our family members. We don't control them, we care for them, and they care for us in return." The concept was so alien to Zethkar that his translator couldn't find equivalent terms. In Council space, relationships were hierarchical, based on dominance and submission. The idea of voluntary cooperation between species without clear benefit exchange was theoretically impossible. But surely there must be some form of subjugation technology, neural implants, behavioral modification drugs. Nothing like that. Just food, shelter, medical care, and affection. In return, they provide companionship, emotional support, and sometimes practical help. It's called domestication, a process that took thousands of years. Zethkar pulled up his files on Terran history. The records showed constant warfare, but not between humans and animals. Instead, humans had somehow convinced various species to join their communities voluntarily, eventually breeding them for desired traits while maintaining their essential nature. "There's something else," Commander Chen continued. "We'd like to introduce some of our companions to the broader galactic community. Many Council species struggle with psychological isolation, and we believe our animal companions could help." The ambassador nearly fainted. You want to spread these creatures throughout council space? Well, the gentler ones. Dogs make excellent therapy animals, cats are wonderful for stress relief, and horses could help with physical rehabilitation programs. Zethkar's mind reeled. Horses were Terran megafauna, creatures weighing several hundred kilograms with bone-crushing hooves. Humans had somehow convinced these giants not only to coexist peacefully, but to carry humans on their backs for recreational purposes. Over the next several hours, Chen showed him documentation of the human-animal bond. Videos of humans risking their lives to rescue stranded animals. Animals protecting human children from danger. Elderly humans finding renewed purpose caring for abandoned creatures. It was a symbiotic relationship so profound that both species had evolved together. How many of these relationships do humans maintain? Zethkar asked. On Earth? Billions. There are roughly 900 million dogs, 600 million cats, plus horses, birds, reptiles, fish, and dozens of other species. Some families have multiple animal companions. The numbers were staggering. Humans had somehow convinced nearly their entire planet's ecosystem to participate in their civilization. No wonder they had achieved spaceflight so rapidly. They weren't fighting their environment, they were collaborating with it. As the diplomatic session concluded, Zethkar found himself reluctantly approaching Noodles, who had remained peacefully coiled around Commander Chen's shoulders throughout their meeting. The serpent's scales caught the station's artificial lighting, creating an almost hypnotic pattern. She really won't attack? He asked. Not unless you threaten her or me. And even then she'd probably just try to hide. Tentatively, Zethkar extended one chitinous finger. Noodles flicked her tongue curiously, then settled back into her relaxed position. Remarkable, the ambassador whispered. 6 months later, Zethkar submitted his report to the Galactic Council. His recommendations were unprecedented. Not only should humans be granted full membership, but their pet integration program should be studied and potentially adopted by other species. The Council initially resisted, but as more ambassadors visited human space and witnessed the impossible sight of apex predators peacefully coexisting with their supposed prey, opinions began to shift. Today, the first interspecies animal therapy programs are being established on Council worlds. Zethkar himself has adopted a small Earth creature called a guinea pig, a decision that would have been unthinkable before his encounter with humanity. As he watches his new companion contentedly munching vegetables in its habitat, Zethkar reflects on humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, the understanding that sometimes the most dangerous thing in the universe can become your dearest friend if you simply choose to offer trust instead of fear.